We know that we have a responsibility to work with him to make sure he does get made whole. We want to make things right. We want to do what's right by the customer.
Well, we have some more breaking news in this Bricks and Minifigs scandal. The CEO of Bricks and Minifigures has gone on to Fox News and done an interview, and Bricks and Minifigs have also made a massive blog post confirming that Josh and Brandon have parted ways. So let's start with the blog post. It has been confirmed that Josh and Brandon have parted ways mutually with Bricks and Minifigs. Now, from all the footage we've seen so far, they've obviously claimed they've done nothing wrong, they're not involved with it. So if you're not involved with it, why would you leave? Well, the reason that's given is because of a devastating social media campaign. Now, it might be devastating for you, but not for everyone else. This has caused outrage across the world, and we just want justice for Brian. If you leaving isn't a sign of guilt, then I don't know what is, because why get this far saying you've done nothing wrong, you're not involved, all just to up and leave. They also confirmed that the Oregon store is a permanent closure, so that means if you were a fan of that store and used it, you will no longer be able to if you're not boycotting them. Now, I could see Ben doing something crazy outside this store or on this store. That's where he hung the sign already. I can see him doing something crazy at the end of all this once it is all said and done. If not, that building is forever going to be known as the Bricks and Minifigs store that stole $200,000 worth of Lego. Now, on the subject of value of that Lego, Bricks and Minifigs have come out and said it was actually worth $90,000 to $100,000, not $200,000. They then come out and said the previous owners seriously underpaid Brian. Now, if you value it higher than it's worth, how can they underpay him? But if I'm honest, I think he means everything that was sold so far, they didn't actually give him a lot of money for. He then goes on to put all the blame on the previous owners. He even said a franchisee went rogue. He also went on to say that he is going to pay Brian back or make up the difference, whichever way it goes. But without figures and evidence of any of this, do we believe that Brian was underpaid? Because he's never come out publicly and said anything bad about the previous owners. He's only ever gone after the CEO, as well as Josh and Brandon. Now, I think the CEO making them step down or mutually stepping down means that I think he's just trying to save whatever's left of Bricks and Minifigs. Because let's be honest, I think it's too far gone now, and I don't think there's ever going to be a recovery from this. I just find it funny how we've gone through the police footage, all the claims that Ben's done some awful things, even though he pretty much hasn't, which led to the arrest, the dislocation of the arm, all the trauma that everybody's gone through to get to this point where he's now basically admitting defeat. Going on to say that you're happy to pay out or make the difference up and sit down with Brian, you're basically admitting that it's got too far, you don't have the evidence to continue because you know you're in the wrong and you do not want to go to court with this. Now, I don't know if Ben's going to drop this or not. He hasn't put out his part 3 yet. We're eagerly awaiting it, and I think there's more parts as well coming after. But does that mean if they sit down with Brian, sort this out, they're going to drop the case against Ben? I don't know. I think they're still going to go after him, and I don't think they're going to win, if I'm honest, based on all the evidence we've seen. But yeah, this whole thing that's just happened with the blog post and the interview on Fox News is an admission of guilt, in my opinion. You've done wrong, you haven't got the evidence to back yourself up, and now you do not want it going further than it needs to go, even though I already think this has gone too far. You've just destroyed your whole business for what you say is $100,000. Even if it was $200,000, you have just destroyed a multi-million-dollar company for the sake of $100,000 or $200,000. Honestly, was it worth it? Because I don't think it was. Now, this is not done. Brian has not had any compensation or anything back what he was owed yet at all, so this is far from done. Also, like I said, we're still waiting for the infamous part 3. So don't go anywhere, because I'll still keep you updated. There might just not be daily updates anymore, but if it continues the way it's going, new things are cropping up every single day. Now, I'm going to leave you with some clip from the Fox News interview. Make of it what you will. Let me know your thoughts, opinions down below in the comment. I'll leave a link to the video as well if you want to watch the whole thing. But yeah, this whole thing has been absolutely crazy. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a hype, as that spreads it far and wide, because we're not forgetting this. This is not done, like I said. So make sure you drop a hype, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, we've been working to try and work with Mr. Mansell for a good little while. We've asked for documentation as far back as a year ago. But we continue to reach out to try and, get towards a resolution with the Mansell family on this matter. have a sit down meeting, meet at the table, and go over all the documentation that we have, and to be able to talk through. And from our side of things, if there, like have been any missteps through the transition of the store, we want to make things right. We want to do what's right by the customer. But all we asked for was documentation, and every time we asked for that up to this point, we seem to kind of then lose the connection. Yeah, whatever was left over, we've offered that on multiple occasions. And then, like if there was anything that had been done that was untoward by the previous franchisee, if that individual had sold more than they let on and did not pay Mr. Mansell, we've offered to compensate him for the loss of the compensation that should have been given to him. So we've tried to make multiple offers, and hopefully we'll be able to get them to the table so we can discuss it. So again, as this situation unfolded, and as additional investigations have continued to evolve, so we could find out where there was a miscommunication, there was some initial findings and discovery of hey, these seem to match some of the things that were being stated, but we don't have any indication otherwise. We were able to determine some other indicators later, and so all of those were set aside to say, hey, these may match. So let's set them aside in case, he can, we can work together. Those then were offered to him, and the initial offer was rejected. But then as we've continued, we've found additional documentation that shows where there were separate sets of books and spreadsheets being kept between, or from the former franchisee. And so as those things have come to light, we've tried to share those with Mr. Mansell in hopes that he can see, that we were not attempting in any way, shape, or form to withhold anything that we could verify, and that we do want to help him recover as much of the collection. Now, the initial number was, promotional, but the actual factual information shows that the value of the more realistic value of the collection was closer to about $100,000, which is what the documentation that we've been able to determine that both parties to that consignment agreement kind of had an understanding between each other that was the actual real value. From what we can tell, yes. The documentation that we've been able to pull out from a couple of different sources indicates that more sets were sold than were reported to him, and from that unauthorized consignment agreement, but that the overall payments to him did not match what had been sold through the store under the previous franchisee.
Okay.